The mother of slain teen, Davani Gray, charged with harboring a criminal. New tonight on Our News, live at 7. Prosecutors link the shooting at her Nassau Village home to murder suspect Gamaliel Gray. This as the United States pledges $2 million to the local fight against crime. Plus, Bahamian troop deployment to Haiti delayed. The National Security Minister cites unanswered questions before committing to support a multinational force to combat Haiti's ongoing crises. Then in Our News at 7:30, soon unlikely. A cabinet minister weighs in on capital punishment amid reignited calls for executions. Our News live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to Our News live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Candino Knowles. The mother of murdered teen Davani Gray facing charges of harboring a criminal. Prosecutors assert that gunmen in pursuit of murder suspect Gamaliel Gray opened fire on Shanika Johnson's Nassau Village residence on January 7th, resulting in the tragic death of her daughter, who police say was charging her cell phone at the time. Gray, wanted in connection with the January 2nd murder of Gerard Coakley, was reportedly present at the residence. He has since been formally charged with the murder and his request for bail denied on Thursday. Dismissing the allegations, Johnson contended on Friday she did not shelter Gray between January 5th and 7th to help him evade arrest. Assistant Chief Magistrate Carolyn Vogt Evans set her bail at $10,000 and ordered her to wear an ankle bracelet. Johnson's trial is now set to commence on January 29th. And a day after the opening of the legal year in New Providence, members of the judiciary in northern Bahamas also marking the historic tradition. The Attorney General outlining two key priorities for the year ahead. Megan Shepard has this.
Members at all levels of the judiciary making their annual trek to Pro-Cathedral of Christ the King for the opening of the legal year in the Northern Bahamas. In attendance, Attorney General Ryan Pinder offering his support to both public and private bars.
And it's an opportunity in which all branches of the administration of justice can show their cooperation and support for each other, which I think is very important, especially as we look to tackle important issues in our nation. Certainly the preeminent one today is crime and crime prevention.
Pinder also responding to concerns being raised by the Commissioner of Police and by the general public, saying he does not believe that the Bail Act needs to be amended.
We believe that the law is adequate to address the means. We just need a better approach, and I think more coordination between the relevant parties on what we're pursuing. Certainly there are circumstances and instances in which bail can be denied for serious offenses and offenses of murder. Those would be when the actual victim is at risk, but also when the public safety is at risk.
The Attorney General also telling Our News that anti-gang legislation will be a top focus for the year 2024.
We want to see harsher offenses for participation in gangs and perpetuating crimes through gangs, but we also want to put in law that the actual gang itself is a criminal organization, which is a pretty new approach with respect to legislation and anti-gang initiatives.
Pinder adding that the government is looking to bring greater independence to the judiciary.
We recently passed the Court Services Bill, which brings independence to the administration of the day-to-day functions of the courts, and we look to assist the Chief Justice in the implementation of that piece of legislation.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Megan Shepard.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Megan. Well, tonight the Royal Bahamas Police Force has new safe boats, protective gear, and life-saving tools ready to help Bahamian citizens. And it's all thanks to a donation from the United States government. Marlena Leonard tells us that the donation is worth millions of dollars.
The 4 new safe boats gifted to the Royal Bahamas Police Force from the United States government are 27 feet long with enclosed cabins, and U.S. Chargé d'Affaires Usha Pitts says they are vital for securing our borders.
They are just critical to preserving security in an island nation that has 700 islands, almost 24 of them populated. You have got to have safe boats for canals, for littoral patrols. You've got to have these equipment.
The boats will be deployed across New Providence, Abaco, Andros, and Bimini to be used for daily patrols as well as to support Operation Bahama's Turks and Caicos.
But it wasn't just about the boats today. The U.S. government also donating protective gear and a number of Jaws of Life.
The total donation is valued at an estimated $2 million. Pitt saying the protective gear is critical in the protection of plainclothes intelligence officers. As for the 6 Jaws of Life,
they will be sent out to various islands for protection. I'm sure you all know the Jaws of Life are these equipment you can use to open up a vehicle after it's been in an accident and extract the victims inside. They come in use all the time.
While referencing the recent official reopening of the Elbow Reef Lighthouse, Pitts added,
"That was a wonderful, heartwarming event, and what I would call is sort of a feel-good donation, but you can't just do the feel-good stuff. We have a true partnership with the Bahamas, and it's incredibly important that we also get down to the brass tacks and that our assistance consists of concrete, relevant, real equipment. And that's what we're presiding over today."
Reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Marlena. Well, now to Eleuthera, a fatal traffic accident, that is, on the island on Thursday, resulting in the death of a 49-year-old motorist. Traffic investigators tell us the incident happened around 6:30 p.m. on Queens Highway in Rainbow Bay and involved a gray Nissan Serena operated by a 60-year-old man and a Nissan Sentra driven by the now deceased victim. Police report the circumstances leading to the traffic collision remain unclear. However, they say the victim had to be extricated from his vehicle with the Jaws of Life. Both drivers were taken to the local clinic where the 49-year-old motorist succumbed to his injuries. Well, the prospect of Bahamian troops being sent to Haiti has been up for discussion since last August when the Bahamas committed 150 troops to support the Kenyan-led multinational force, hoping to secure critical infrastructure and transit hubs in crisis-torn Haiti. But when asking Minister of National Security Wayne Monroe for updates on the potential deployment, the minister said other questions needed to be answered first.
The Attorney General made it clear that he didn't speak to amendments to the bill. He spoke to using the existing law, and where the judges make a decision, then the office of the DPP challenging it if we're not happy with it. And that is what we've been saying.
And Monroe saying that some of the training assistance may need to happen here.
Where there is some merit in that, and we're seeking to move to address that, living in poor circumstances surely is better than being gunned down in the street, as has happened to a large number of people released on bail. Life is precious. Living in the institution we have now must be better than being gunned down in the street. And more importantly, where that then risks the public safety. That's the substantial point that we make.
Yeah, thanks, Gindina. Happy Friday.
All right, we'll get to Greg in just a bit, but now to another story we've been following today as a shocking resignation rocks Mount Tabor Church. Berthany McDermott, he's investigating the sudden departure of the newly minted senior pastor, just over a year now, putting the mega church in the spotlight. What's next for Mount Tabor? Find out in just a bit, but for now, we go back to Greg for your first look at temperatures. Greg is in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Gindina. Happy Friday evening, everybody. Beautiful day around the islands. We had lots more sun. A lot of that cloud mass has moved out towards the north as that front exited the area. But we are still on the warm side. Temperature 75 degrees, mostly clear skies. Your winds out of the south-southeast at 10 miles per hour, and that's what's bringing in those warm temperatures. Your feels-like temperature is at 76. Temperatures around the islands tonight, it is rather warm this evening. 74 in Freeport, 76 in Marsh Harbor, Abaco. We pick up 77s in Alistown, Bimini, Nicholstown, Andros. Over in Great Harbor Key and Governor's Harbor, 78 into the central Bahamas. 76, Kemps Bay and Coburn Townsend, Salvador. More 78s in Arthurstown, Cat Island, Georgetown. Deadman's Key, you guys are 79. And deep south, 80 degrees in Duncantown, Ragged Island, and Abrahams Bay. Then we pick up 79s, Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Delectable Bay, Providenciales, Turks and Caicos, and in Matthewtown, Inagua. Taking a look at our satellite and radar composite, as I mentioned, clearing out across the northwest Bahamas as that front lifted towards the north. Most of the shower activity just off the east coast of Florida. High pressure will build in behind that slowly, but we will continue to see those warm temperatures as we do anticipate a frontal boundary that's now taking shape across the Gulf of Mexico. That one will get in here sometime late Saturday into Sunday, bringing us some showers and a nice little dip in temperatures. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Thanks, Greg. And still to come on our news, a shocking resignation rocks Mount Tabor Church. The new senior pastor steps down. And we'll tell you about the launch of an attendance hotline to boost school enrollment. The Ministry of Education aiming to reach 95% student participation. The story when our news returns.
Since they're on sale, Max bought things neither he nor his friend really needed. Hungry for deals? Come to KFC to satisfy your hunger before doing something crazy. Our new 6-piece value deal is packed with 6 pieces of your favorite fried chicken, 3 orders of crispy fries, and 3 buttery biscuits, all for just $20. You work hard for your money. Get the biggest bang for your taste buds. Satisfy your taste buds with KFC. It's finger-licking good.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
Now thrust in the spotlight after its newly minted senior pastor resigned in what some say was an unexpected move. It leaves many to wonder what's next for the megachurch. Berthany McDormand is on the story tonight.
Officially declare that as of this moment, you are the new senior pastor of the Mount Tabor Church.
And exactly 1 year later, this happened.
On today, I must announce my official resignation as the senior pastor of the Mount Tabor Church. After much prayer, after much contemplation,
Munker closed his church, Word of Life Kingdom Ministries, more than a year ago and joined Mount Tabor Church before officially taking the helm. His resignation comes as speculation swirled about Munker's and founding pastor Bishop Neil Ellis' relationship. Shortly after being ordained, insiders tell us the two had a rocky relationship. In his resignation video that took social media by storm Friday morning, Munker gave this reasoning for what he termed an informal resignation.
But I felt it best to come to you in this way due to some challenges that surround my presence at the Mount Tabor Church at this time.
So, of course, we visited Mount Tabor Church today to try to get a comment from Bishop Ellis. However, we were told he was locked in meetings. Insiders tell us that Bishop met with his leadership team, then had a wider meeting with his pastoral team. Meanwhile, Munker, in his resignation video, issuing this apology to anyone he may have slighted.
As I sought to serve and to do that which God has called me to do at the Mount Tabor Church, it seems as though I have created some offenses. For that, I want to, first of all, apologize to anyone that I would have offended. Most certainly, if I have offended my bishop in any way.
Munker wrapped up his resignation video saying there is too much violence and bloodshed for the church to be fighting. He suggested his resignation was the best move, adding he didn't want to be a hindrance.
The body of Christ doesn't need it. Mount Tabor Church, you are too great of a people for anyone to come into that church and create unnecessary pain. We don't need to do the body of Christ any more harm. We need to unite.
As for what's next for him and the Mount Tabor Church, only time will tell. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, and we will certainly continue to follow that story. For more on that, visit ournews.bs. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education launching an attendance hotline in hopes of getting students back in the classroom. Education officials tell us 90% of school-age children are in school, but they don't believe that's enough. The aim is to get to 95%.
This hotline is to allow members of the public, when they see, and we know, when they see children they know have not been in school for a while, hanging around in communities, this is a confidential way of advising the ministry, and your confidentiality is guaranteed and protected. It allows us to go into the community and to seek out those children.
The hotline, 422-4453. Again, 422-4453. It comes as the ministry has been working to ensure all students are back in the classroom post-COVID-19. The initiative, a partnership with the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and according to the Assistant Commissioner Chaswell Hanna, the unit tasked with assisting the force with this initiative will support the work.
It's all about partnerships, connecting, networking, and we are excited about this partnership that we have with the Ministry of Education.
When Our News comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as protests sweep Sana'a after U.S. and British strikes in Yemen, NATO defending the actions as Houthis pledge retaliation, plus a tragic loss in the Caribbean Sea as a Coast Guard operation leads to the interception of a boat smuggling $11 million worth of cocaine. And the notable increase in swine flu cases in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. When Our News returns.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having Business in a Box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer service that we pride ourselves on.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Protests erupted in Sana'a on Friday following U.S. and British strikes across Yemen aimed at Houthi forces for Red Sea shipping attacks. NATO deeming the strikes defensive for navigation. U.S. Air Force Lieutenant General revealing over 100 precision-guided mutinists hit 60 targets at 16 locations. Houthis claim 5 casualties and 73 strikes, pledging retaliation and ongoing attacks on shipping in solidarity with Palestinians against Israel. and a person from the Dominican Republic died in a U.S. Coast Guard operation in the Caribbean targeting a boat smuggling $11 million worth of cocaine. The Coast Guard confirmed the news, saying warning shots were fired during the January 1st incident, resulting in an injured crew member. Despite receiving first aid and evacuation to the Dominican Republic, the individual succumbed to injuries. The Coast Guard emphasizing the rarity of fatal shootings and is conducting an investigation. 2 other suspects were arrested and 848 pounds of cocaine were seized. An urgent advisory in St. Vincent and the Grenadines as the Ministry of Health urged the public to take precautions against infectious diseases including COVID-19, dengue fever, and influenza A H1N1, otherwise known as swine flu. Officials report a notable spike in H1N1 cases, with 32 confirmed between December 25th, 2023 and January 6th this year, prompting heightened vigilance. And over in Ecuador, the city still reeling after gang horror. Rachel Faber from our partners at Reuters reports.
A live broadcast on Ecuadorian TV was dramatically interrupted on Tuesday by balaclava-clad gunmen. Just one example of a fresh wave of violence that's shaken Ecuador after a high-profile gang leader disappeared from prison on the weekend. The violence that started in several prisons has since spread to the streets and has led President Daniel Noboa to launch a military crackdown on gangs. Security in Ecuador has been worsening since the pandemic, which also brutally battered the economy. The government says violent deaths nationally nearly doubled in a year to more than 8,000 in 2023, and blames the situation on the growing reach of cocaine trafficking gangs. Inside Ecuador's prisons, the gangs have taken advantage of the state's weak control to expand their power. The city of Guayaquil is considered the country's most dangerous, as its ports are a hub for drug smuggling. Police said on Sunday that gang leader Adolfo Macias had disappeared from the prison where he was serving a 34-year sentence. Meanwhile, there were incidents of violence in at least 6 prisons. As of Wednesday, more than 100 guards and other staff were still being held hostage. A prison in Riobamba saw 39 inmates escape, though some have been recaptured. Several police officers were kidnapped and 2 were killed on Tuesday. Explosions were also confirmed in several cities, though no injuries were reported. President Noboa has said the violence is a reaction to his government's plans to build a new high-security prison for jailed gang leaders. Noboa, who took power in November after pledging to curb violence, has said he will not negotiate with terrorists. On Monday, he declared a 60-day state of emergency, enabling military patrols and setting a national nighttime curfew. And on Tuesday, in an updated decree, Noboa said he recognized an internal armed conflict in the country and identified several gangs as terrorist groups. The decree ordered the armed forces to neutralize the groups. Police say they have made dozens of arrests, but some Ecuadorians are questioning why the president is not taking harsher measures against gangs. Noboa plans to hold a security-focused plebiscite later this year, asking the public if the government should undo a ban on the extradition of Ecuadorians wanted abroad, and if asset seizures from suspected criminals should be allowed.
Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was January 12th. Then in our news at 7:30, we'll tell you the blood donation appeal at Princess Margaret Hospital. This as the blood bank supervisor reveals critically low levels of blood, how you can help, straight ahead. And the GB Chamber president voicing concerns over the island's economic struggles, hoping for resolution. This as over 100 Pharmachem employees join the unemployment line today. The story when our news returns.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Welcome back to Our News. It's time now to turn our spotlight on events that shaped the day that was January 12th. Take a look. On this day in Bahamian history, in 1841, the legislative and executive councils became two distinct bodies. Previously, the council performed both legislative and executive functions and its membership exclusive to the House of Assembly. The Department of Archives notes that in 1840, the apparent vacancy of seats in the council warranted a separation of the council's functions. The governor at the time applied for the separation of the councils because he wished to appoint two members of the House of Assembly to these vacancies, but their resignations from the House would be necessary. Both councils consisted of 9 members with a quorum of 3, and by this arrangement, the governor could have advisors in the House of Assembly and thereby have more control over the House. And also on this day in 2012, then Deputy Prime Minister Brent Simonet announced he would not seek re-election in the 2012 general election, stepping down from frontline politics.
The FNM is committed to introducing a new brand, a new group of candidates. I feel it is time, the Prime Minister, I've discussed it, for me to make way for the other persons to come forward and contribute to the party in whichever way they can.
You know, this has been a very good kept secret. Brent has told me this more than 2 years ago, that he did not intend to seek re-election. And one day he said it in the presence of some of his colleagues. And somebody leaked it to the newspapers, and I'm still looking for that culprit.
However, 5 years later, Simonet returned to the front line in 2017 under the Minnis administration, despite supporting Loretta Butler Turner in the FNM leadership contest. Simonet was sworn in as Minister of Financial Services, Trade and Industry and Immigration after regaining his seat and served until July 1st, 2019, when he resigned. Simonet did not seek re-election in 2021. All right, to watch that historical recap again, and for all of today's top stories, you can visit ournews.bs. That's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now is Natalia Hall. She's got the latest headlines. And Natalia, I know you've got a story about the concert coming up with Bahamian musician Phil Stubbs.
Yes.
Have you been to the cruise port yet?
I have not. I want to check it out. I've not been able to go. I've heard about it,
Yeah.
but maybe another time. I don't know if I'm going to catch the concert this weekend, but I'll definitely catch the next one.
Hopefully our Danielle Miller goes and captures it for entertainment.
For sure.
And hopefully we get to see it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Ken. Well, straight ahead, we'll tell you about the blood donation appeal at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Plus, the Grand Bahama Chamber President voices concern over the island's economic struggles. Here are your latest headlines. Enough is enough. New tonight on Our News, live at 7:30. 10 murders in 12 days, leaving the nation in shock. A local resident weighing in on the latest murder.
Renee, man, she's like a sister to me. Very nice lady. She's a sister to me. We grew up in Grandstand, you know. My sister, we like, I could go to her and eat dinner. We grew up together as family. Very nice lady, man. Very nice lady.
Also, amid the high murder rate in the country, there are now calls to bring back capital punishment. Hear why the education minister says it's unrealistic. Plus, an employee at the Public Hospitals Authority confirming that the blood levels at the blood bank is is extremely low. Hear what you can do to help coming up. And later, a local organization in Grand Bahama ready to assist women who may have suffered a miscarriage or the loss of a child. The full story when Our News Live at 7:30 returns.
Doctors Hospital's reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshos.com.
I'm Michaela Kerr. I'm an 18-year-old freshman at the University of the Bahamas, and I'm a computer science major. I'm also the NT Corporation's Youth Ambassador for the Environment, and I'm an environmentalist. My journey as the environmental advocate began with a simple yet profound realization that our environment is degrading right in front of my eyes. And being NT's Youth Ambassador for the Environment means that my words and my actions hold the power to help change the environment and the world around me. I find it exciting that I can be a student, live my life, and use my words and my voice to change the environment and the world around me. Most times I think it's a privilege. It's our environment and it's our generation to own. I don't think as a young person that there is anything more rewarding than being a part of bringing awareness. I'm Michaela Kerr, and I'm making a difference in my own words.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business.
Welcome to Our News. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. Enough is enough. That's what some residents are saying in the wake of a slew of killings in recent days. One of them, the neighbor of the grandmother who was gunned down on Thursday. Our Joshua Williams has reactions and feedback of residents both on the streets and social media.
Residents sounding off on what many call a violent wave of crime. And with 10 murders in just 12 days, many are expressing their frustration over the violence. Just yesterday, a grandmother was killed and a toddler seriously injured during a shooting on Lily of the Valley corner. Her neighbor, Glenroy Oliver, says enough is enough.
Renee, man, she's like a sister to me. Very nice lady. She's a sister to me. We grew up in Grandstand, you know. My sister, we like, I could go to her and eat dinner. We grew up together as family. Very nice lady, man. Very nice lady.
As for what steps need to be taken,
I feel like if the law should beef up with every area. Let's say beef up or put more restrictions down and monitor every area as a 48-hour area search.
Others taken to social media over the past few days to complain about crime, like this user calling on government to beef up their efforts, or this person calling for outside help, with most saying a turn back to God is needed. For this concerned resident, he says we've talked about the problem long enough.
We need to come up with some solutions to the problem. Part of the problem is that I feel that we have a broken family structure. I think we need to go back to basics, where in the old days it says that a village raised the kids, and we have to go back to those days.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, thanks for that, Josh. Well, the issue of capital punishment again making news headlines amid a spike in homicides. Education Minister Gladys Hannah Martin says it's unlikely executions will happen anytime soon. Berthree McDermott reports.
The calls for capital punishment is an unrealistic one, according to Education Minister Gladys Hannah Martin. Hannah Martin says the jurisprudence has changed.
It's the go-to at times like these, and I think even the Prime Minister in Jamaica gone to that. The reality is the jurisprudence is making it more and more unlikely that you're going to see executions anytime soon. I have to be realistic about it. I mean, I could join the bandwagon and make everybody feel happy, but I'm not that type.
The calls for capital punishment again resurfaced amid a spike in homicides. During his sermon to the judiciary at Christ Church Cathedral, the Very Reverend Harry Bain said he does not support capital punishment, but that the Bahamas is in a crime crisis. Hannah Martin said we need to find out what is causing the level of crime we're seeing.
Our children, these are other people's children. Our children coming through our school system and living in our communities. And it's all stakeholders. And I think that we should be more realistic about what needs to be done, because on that issue, I don't think, based on the history of it, you're not going to see it happen anytime soon. So then if that's not going to happen, what are we going to do?
During the opening of the legal year, many called for an all-hands-on-deck approach to crime. Hannah Martin shared the same sentiment.
We're concerned, very concerned, but I am also very hopeful that if we put our heads together and we collaborate and we do what needs to be done, particularly in what we're doing here in Ministry of Education, that we can shift the paradigm in this country.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
A 20-year-old man is behind bars after being accused of having unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor. Prosecutors say Ramon Johnson had sex with a juvenile when she was 14 and 15 years old. The incidents allegedly took place in October 2023 and on January 3, 2024. Johnson did not have to plead to the charges. When he stood before Assistant Chief Magistrate Carolyn Vo Evans, bail was denied and Johnson returns to court on May 6 to receive voluntary bill of indictment papers. While we're feeling slightly warm temperatures in the capital as we get ready for the weekend, but there may be some rain in the forecast. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with your first look at weather. Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Natalia, and welcome back, everybody, for a quick check on conditions around the islands and outside our studios. 75 degrees under mostly clear skies. The winds out of the south-southeast at around 10 knots. That's bringing in that warm air mass. Feels like temperature is at 76. Satellite radar composite showing clearing conditions across the northwest Bahamas. High pressure in charge. Most of the activity with that frontal boundary that was across us yesterday is now pushed well towards the north. But we are watching a frontal boundary across the Gulf of Mexico. That's expected to get near by Saturday and Sunday. That one will bring us a chance for some showers and a change in our atmosphere. That's a quick check on conditions around the island. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, Pharmachem Technologies operations coming to an end in Grand Bahama today after some 20 years. The move prompting calls from the Grand Bahama business community to meet with the nation's leader. Plus, blood levels critically low at the blood bank in the capital. Hear how you can assist. And later, a local support group in Grand Bahama ready to lend a helping hand to those women who may have suffered a miscarriage. And that's all coming up when our news returns.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging.
Season may be over, you can still give the gift of blood. The Public Hospital Authority recently issued an appeal for blood donations at the blood bank at the laboratory at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Speaking exclusively to Our News, supervisor at the blood bank, Jalna Bullard, says blood levels at the bank are extremely low.
Right now we're experiencing what we would call a very critical level of blood supply, and we are requiring and asking for persons to come in to give all types. That's O positive, B, A.
Now, should you want to donate blood or recommend to a friend, here's what you should know.
There's a need by the patients here at the Princess Margaret Hospital in order to receive blood. For example, we have oncology patients who, in order to have their chemotherapy sessions, they would need blood. Persons on dialysis would also need blood.
There will be a free support group and workshop for those who have experienced miscarriage or child loss tomorrow in Grand Bahama. Mental health counselor and event facilitator Jessica Russell says it's important for women to know that they aren't alone.
A lot of people don't realize that 1 in 4 pregnancies end in a loss. That's a high number. So when you think that we're not talking about it at that rate, so how many people who are going through it feel alone? And with grief in general being an uncomfortable thing to talk about, this type of grief is even more isolating.
Well, the event will take place at 4 p.m. at the Sir Cecil Wallace Whitfield complex, and Russell says the safe space is not just to interact with professionals, but also to meet other women who have also experienced miscarriage or child loss. Nakia Talbot McPhee is a survivor and advocate who says the support group has been an idea of hers for a very long time.
Women who have miscarriages, it's almost like a stigma that's attached in this country. It's a taboo word. Miscarriage, stillborns, when your baby dies as an infant, it is like, oh, they didn't live long. So I don't know if that's supposed to ease the blow of whatever happens, but there's no support, especially here in Grand Bahama particularly. And Nassau, they have a few, but women need to be able to they don't have to feel ashamed, one, and they don't have to suffer in silence.
All right, well, Pharmachem Technology is set to close their doors today after some 20 years of service. The company citing unprecedented challenges significantly impacting their ability to sustain operations. The move now leaving 100 Bahamians unemployed. Well, in light of Pharmachem's closure, the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce President James Carey weighing in on Grand Bahama's economic situation. He says it's unfortunate that government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority had a public back and forth last year, but it is his hope that the key players have sat around the table to discuss the matter, as a solution is needed to repair the island's economy. The president says Grand Bahamians can see progress on other islands.
We're not getting that type of development here, and of course we have developments going on in other islands, and Abacos and Exumers, and Eleuthera is bursting at the seams with tourists. So there has to be a formula where things can change here, and we just need to determine to work together to make it happen. We have the Port Authority. They are in place for another 30 years or thereabouts. And while it may be preferred by the government to see that arrangement go away, it is what it is.
Carey revealing that the Grand Bahama business community, through the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, has made several attempts to meet with the Prime Minister, but to no avail.
We're certainly more than available, but we work on the basis that we do have something to offer to participate. But beyond that, the business community has been very pivotal in sustaining Grand Bahama post-Dorian and through COVID, and some words of encouragement from the leaders of our country, I think will go a long way in encouraging the business houses.
You may remember this group of fishermen who expressed concerns about not having access to a ramp in the Carroll Beach community in Grand Bahama that they've been utilizing for decades. The ramp, collectively built by the boaters over the years, was cut off by a fence, which the boaters say was erected by the owner of the privately owned land. The group making calls for the Grand Bahama Port Authority and government to intervene, while Central Grand Bahama Member of Parliament Iram Lewis, who represents that area, was a part of the initial protest with the boaters last month. In an interview with Our News this week, Lewis says they are currently in negotiation with a landowner in the Hunters community, which will be a solution to the issue.
We are now working on the terms with the landowner and the boaters to ensure that we can upgrade the facility that exists that allow them temporary access until we can find a permanent location. As the Member of Parliament for Central Grand Bahama, and is located in Central Grand Bahama, I've allocated a bit of my capital funds, and I was able to supply some funding last week to provide ready-mix concrete to at least put the first temporary ramp down that will give them some sort of relief until we can find a more permanent location.
And Lewis adds the boaters have been in constant contact with the Grand Bahama Port Authority about the issue.
Hopefully at the end of the day, we'll have more than one ramp where if the weather's bad in one area, tide is low in one area, they can access the shore or they can get into the sea from another location. So I'm happy to say that progress is being made.
When Our News comes back from the break, I'm happy to be back on stage. Those words coming from legendary Bahamian music artist Phil Stubbs. This as he's set to perform at the Nassau Cruise Port this weekend.
Kai Jones, who played with the national basketball team, and Coach Joe and the Rebels bounced back. Our sports is coming up next.
Plus nice weather conditions around the islands on this Friday. Greg is back with your extended weather when Our News returns. Stay with us.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results.
This is Our News. Welcome back. Women are excelling in sports across the world. Our very own Jonquel Jones and the WNBA and award-winning Bahamian coach Yo, both extraordinary testaments to the strides in female basketball. Even our director of sports is a female, who our Sasha Lightborn had a chance to reflect with on how far we've come. Let's take a look.
Kim Roll is the Director of Athletics at the University of the Bahamas. Grand Bahamian Yolette McPhee-McEwen is the head coach of Ole Miss's women's basketball team. Jonquel Jones is the starting center for the New York Liberty in the WNBA. Georgette Albury is the General Secretary for Bahamas Aquatics. Then you have the Shawnee Miller-Weebos, Anthony Strons, Kiana Moss, Renishka Gibbs, Celeste Gibson, Devin Charlton, Rima Audabor, Laurie Lowe, LaShawn Higgs, Simone Pratt, just some of those names you may know, and some you may not. But they're all progressive women dominating in sports. I asked Director of Sports Kelsey Johnson about this.
We're evolving, and it's no longer where we're going to sit in our household and let a man dominate the talk of a sport. We're going to get involved in it.
She described it like a staircase, citing her own personal achievements.
You start small, but as you ascend, you get to the bigger posts, like the ones that you have named, myself and Kim Roll with Yolette and Jonquel. But we all had a start. Kim played basketball. She went off to school on a basketball scholarship. So was Yo. So did Jonquel. I did about 5 sports. A lot of people didn't even know that I was a former junior national record holder in the high jump.
And Johnson says the best is yet to come from Bahamian women.
To see not only myself in a position where I can help other women and talk to other women, especially the younger females, about it. We're all going to make mistakes, Sasha. That's the story of life. We're going to make mistakes, but what do you do when you make the mistakes? Are you going to learn from the mistakes, or are you going to roll over and tap out of the game? None of us tapped out of the game.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Sasha Lightborn.
All right, thanks for that, Sasha. Well, Kai Jones will play with the national team next month, and Ole Miss gets back to their winning ways. Here's Tej Adderley with a check on sports. Tej?
Thanks, Ty. Good evening, happy Friday. I'm Tej Adderley here. We're going to finish up the week strong with some sports. The Bahamas national basketball team had an historic year in 2023, beating Argentina on their home floor to win the FIBA pre-Olympic qualifiers. They're going into AmeriCup now, and they've added a star. Earlier this afternoon, our sports confirmed that former Charlotte Hornets forward Kai Jones will play in the national team next month, as reported by 10th Year Seniors. The team will play in Puerto Rico in the first window before the FIBA 2025 AmeriCup qualifiers on February 22nd. Then they're going to come home and play Puerto Rico on February 25th at the Kendall G. Lazic Gymnasium. Our guys are in a tough pool with the defending Olympic gold medalist USA, the aforementioned Puerto Rico, and our neighbors Cuba. The top 3 teams in each pool will qualify for the 2025 FIBA AmeriCup games. And once again, the home game will take place on February 25th at 7 p.m. in the Kendall G. Lazic Gymnasium. We head to Oxford, Mississippi, where Ole Miss head coach Yolette McPhee-McEwen and her Rebels got back in the win column. The Rebels bounced back from Sunday's loss to LSU with a 58-55 win against the Auburn Tigers. Marquisha Davis led the squad at 15 points and 6 rebounds, while Madison Scott ran the offense to the tune of 8 assists to go along with their 10 points. They played their trademark stifling defense against Auburn, holding them to a stingy 29% shooting from the field. They also out-rebounded them 43-35. Coach Yo was happy for the win. Now, before we go, VJ Edge, who hails from Bimini and is a top 5 ESPN prospect, is reportedly set to make a decision on which school he will attend. His choices are Baylor, Duke, and the University of Kentucky. Stay tuned to our socials for that. That's the wrap of sports for the week. I'm Tej Adderley. Have a great weekend.
Still ahead on Our News tonight, Bahamian musician Phil Stubbs is back on the big stage this weekend. Organizers say you're in for a treat as he's set to perform all his classic hits. And temperatures warming up slightly just in time for the weekend. Greg is back with your extended weather right after this quick break. Stay with us.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having Business in a Box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product.
Welcome back to our news. Temperatures in the upper 70s on this Friday evening, but we can expect to see some showers this weekend. Greg is back at the Weather Center with their extended forecast. Greg?
Yeah, thanks again, Natalia, and welcome back, everybody, for our final check-up weather. Frontal boundary that was across the northwest of Bahamas has lifted well towards the north. It's just off the east coast of more or less northern Florida. Most of the activity with the front has pushed up towards the north. High pressure is in charge of our weather. We have a southerly flow that's going to warm us up through tomorrow before we do watch this frontal boundary that's across the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Low pressure system that is attached to is moving towards the northeast, and eventually that will drag a front across our area by late tomorrow and into Sunday. Taking a look at our future forecasts, quiet across our area through tomorrow, and then we expect that frontal boundary to be approaching us by tomorrow afternoon. By about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, we expect that system to be pushing into the Grand Bahama area. It's likely that the system will stall through Sunday, so we could see some cloudy conditions across the northwest Bahamas, as well as a few isolated showers. Boating forecast for the northwest Bahamas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will start off southerly but become more south to southwest at 10 to 15 knots through tomorrow. Seas 2 to 4 feet. High tide is at 8:30 tonight with low tide at 2:36 in the morning. For the central and southeast Bahamas, east to southeast winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming more southeasterly tomorrow. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, we will keep nice conditions through tomorrow, but Saturday evening into Sunday, that frontal boundary is expected to get here, increasing the chances for some showers, and that will continue through Monday, and then Tuesday, much improved, and we expect another front by the middle of next week. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, and have a great weekend, everybody.
All right, thanks so much, Greg. Well, the legendary musical storyteller himself, Phil Stubbs, set to headline on the amphitheater stage at the Nassau Cruise Port this Saturday, January 13th. Following a medical hiatus, Stubbs says he's happy to be back on stage and to perform his classic hits that Bahamians of all generations have grown to love and enjoy.
The songs that I believe were made popular by the Bahamian people, by them requesting certain songs. So I tapped into that experience, and so I'll be singing the Hurricanes, the Perseveres, the Pot Cakes. It always seemed to be like a celebration, not Phil Stubbs up there dictating the pace or nothing like that, because everybody knows the songs. I think a lot of them know the songs better than I do.
Ira Store and the Spang Band, along with Nishi LS, are also set to take the stage. While tickets will be available at the door, Cruise Port Assistant Manager of Events Aisha Roll encourages attendees to get their tickets early on BahamasEtickets.com.
gates open at 7 and the show starts promptly at 9. We are excited for a night of fun, Bahamian music. The storyteller himself, the living legend, Mr. Phil Stubbs. He does not grace the stage often, and we are honored. Nassau Cruiseport prides themselves on authentically Bahamian, and Phil Stubbs, with his huge catalog of 150 odd songs. We can't wait to see which of the 150 he chooses to perform for us that night.
All right, sounds exciting. Of course, to see that story again, you can visit ournews.bs. And with that, we thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.